Albert Einstein once said that the only source of knowledge is experience, and from what I've learned in TOK, I can honestly say that this quote has much truth. From this past year, TOK has required me to dig deeper into my understanding of the outside world and really analyze why we think and act in certain ways, not only by doing research, but really thinking about how I know that all these answers I've come up with are true. Whether it's the way we talk, act, or the way we sense, I had to analyze and experience through my own understandings on how I do these everyday actions. So I'm going to take you on a timeline of my TOK journey, through what I've experienced in each section of the class and what I've done, and how it's brought me to this final year in TOK. In the Nature of Knowledge section, it was about finding differences between information, data, belief, and opinion. I was really awed to see how rapidly our society was changing based on the new technology that we were exploring. I got to learn and understand about different search engines and how they're beginning to be programmed in the way our brain thinks. Meaning that the search engine fully understands what you're trying to ask, and it will give you the most precise answer that it knows. Also, by doing research and looking at technological advancements in a global perspective, I was able to gain an understanding on how technology has been transformed so that other people may be helped. I got to research about how Sony in Japan has created an android robot that is designed to help patients in hospitals. Without TOK, I really wouldn't have been able to gain all these new insights, and I think that learning about all these new inventions really helped me to realize that our world has so many great ideas. In my culminating essay project, I got to share what my dream school would look like and how I think the classroom should be set up in the future. We could put in new ideas that we had on how we think we could learn better in school, whether it was changing the classroom experience or changing the way curriculum was taught. The next section was sense perception, and this was all about justification. In the sense perception section, I asked the question, how does language affect the way we see things? And through learning about infographics, we could see how information and data was portrayed through pictures and writing that seemed pleasing to our eyes. Advertisements were one of the ways that I believe could change the way we see things. In my language of wordplay, for my IOP presentation, I decided to focus on how advertisements become pleasing to us. Other people in my class focused on different language methods. One of my classmates focused on offensive language and whether or not it's right to use, and how over time our generation has changed the meaning of some words. The next question I asked in the sense perception section was how your mood can affect your perception of things. I focused on optical illusion. In Bo Lodo's TED Talk, he examined different optical illusions and colors, and how we see things that might not be what it seems. It was really interesting to see different pictures and how our left side and right side of our brain works differently. The next way of knowing that we focused on is language as a way of knowing. How does language affect the way we perceive things? And through perception of language, it's not just speaking verbally, but it's also body language. We learned a lot about the science of attraction, different dating methods that men and women use to attract the opposite gender. Either it's using their hair or their eyes to attract the person, but it was really interesting, I thought, to learn that in this Twitter post it says, what does your leadership style say to others? Your personality, tone of voice, body language all contribute to it. And so this Twitter post is basically saying that your language, whether it be body language, verbal language, or just the way you act, can contribute to so many different things in the world, like whether or not you're going to get a job, whether or not you give off the right vibe to other people. And so I think that language is one of the most important skills that we need to have, because it's not only verbal language, but it's how we act around other people and whether or not we are able to conceive messages or give off the right vibe that we want to, because if not, people can get the wrong ideas. So the next question that I wanted to ask was, how does language differ due to culture? And in TOK we had to do a presentation that was based on our language B classes, so foreign language. And in that we had to talk about different exercises, body language and verbal languages and customs that each country has. So it was really interesting because compared to what people in the US do, what we're accustomed to, it was so different compared to what the Japanese have to do, because it is so strict and so formal. So we found different emotions that they're able to give and not, different ways of communicating, the idioms that they use. Like for us, it's like, say, I'm as hungry as a horse. Language of different culture doesn't necessarily have to mean a different country, but it can also just mean a culture in general. So an example is Hawaiian culture and local people in Hawaii and all sorts of people in Hawaii who use pidgin language. That's also a differentiates Hawaii from any other state. The last way of knowing that I'm going to focus on is emotions. And the first question is, does the way you describe something reflect or have an effect on the way you feel about it? This was a snippet of my Disciple video, and I put this under the emotions category because the way I was describing my Disciple statement was through emotions. I was talking about how you can go through hard and sad times, and when you feel like you can't get out of certain obstacles and certain things, that you shouldn't look down and just look up and keep moving forward. This TED Talk is from JR. He is an artist from Paris, and he had won the TED Prize in 2011, and he could make a wish to change the world, and he wished that art could be used to turn the world inside out. He says that art is not supposed to change the world, to change practical things, but to change people's emotions and perceptions. And he says that art can change the way we look at the world and the way we feel about the world. And so I use this TED Talk because it can relate so much, and he finds so much joy in art that he does, and he hopes that he can change people's views and how people feel about art. So to wrap things up, having these different areas of knowledge and implications in TOK class, I feel has really helped to broaden my understanding of what it is to know something, whether it's your personal belief or a fact. And you're not just sharing your emotions, but you're sharing what other people believe too. And I think it's really good that we're having TOK class because you're getting a global perspective of what other people in the world are doing and how technology is being driven, not just in America, but in different countries and worldwide. We got to learn how to make a Wix program, learned about different search engines, and I think it was really great to be having this experience because you wouldn't get it in a public or private school. And in TOK, I feel like we were able to involve our other DP courses like language and just our core classes as well. And you could really think back to, how can I incorporate environmental systems into colors, or language into our language B class? It's just really integrated, and I think from TOK I'm able to gain skills that I'm going to be able to have in the future. And having the different implications of knowledge through language, emotion, sense perception, you're really forced to think, but it's not critical thinking. It's more what you think is true and how you can show it, because it's what Albert Einstein said. It's through experiences that we gain our knowledge. And I think that's what brings us back to TOK class. So this is my TOK final vlog, and yeah, I hope you got some more understanding.